Um, in my opinion, one of the biggest topics that I've come across in my 8 going on 9 years of experience in the mental health field is I've had people come to me who have been to counseling before, and have never heard what a coping skill is. And I'm flabbergasted by that because it's kind of like counseling 101. Um, and for those who don't know, a coping skill is something we utilize to help reduce symptoms, whether it might be from anxiety, depression, mood swing. The list goes on oversensory. So it's something that we do to self soothe. It's part of that self care model. And it could be, and you could look these up. What are coping skills? And you're going to see like drawing, playing instruments, listening to music, taking a hot shower. But I always tell people expand it, find out what else is out there because, it's not just because I might have somebody who isn't artistic, they're not into playing with clay and drawing. It's not their, I've always called it their jam. Okay. Well, what is your jam? Okay. You like music. Okay. Maybe we can make a playlist of how we're feeling right now. How about, have you ever tried to write your own lyrics? Let's see where that can go. But the world is so expansive in coping skills. And I tell people that there's ones we could do daily, weekly, monthly, maybe once a year. I share with all of my clients that one of my coping skills is collecting insects. You're not going to find that on any list. But as I told you in the beginning, I'm a self-proclaimed geek nerd and I self-study entomology and botany. So I have an entire bug collection on my wall over here. So it depends on the person, but don't think that you're limited to just those things you find online. But I do always say, if it's something you do to take up time, that's what I call a boredom buster. That is not reducing any kind of symptom you might be feeling. The example I give is like if you're someone who gets very anxious before a test, maybe deep breathing works. Maybe listening to some music or EMDR music, doing some tapping, because we got to think about the environment too, because there's a thing like an EMDR we do called a butterfly hug where you do this. Because when someone's anxious, it goes like this, and then they'll get out of beat, and then they'll start to calm down. Teenagers aren't going to want to do that in high school. Not going to happen. So let's tap our toes. Let's modify it because no one's going to look at your feet. So there's things we can modify and there's things we can expand on. And it doesn't have to be just like you said, what you see online. It could be so expansive. It could be, cosplaying. How many people do we see cosplay that find great enjoyment and it reduces their anxiety? You're not going to find that on the list either, but it exists.
So if someone's dealing with anxiety right now who's listening and they've tried the breathing techniques, maybe they've looked at one of these blogs online that has a list, what's a question I guess they can ask themselves to try to figure out what is my personal coping skill?
So what I always say is, when was the last time that you felt a sense of relief? What did you do that gave you a sense of relief? Okay, try it again and see if it works. But know that one coping skill might work 99 times out of 100, but that one time it doesn't work. If we don't have a backup, we are out of luck. So we want to have a minimum, and I do mean a minimum of 10, because some of the people I work with like gaming. Well, we live in Florida. we have hurricanes and power can be out for a week. What are you going to do when you can't game? So, have things across different spectrums. So that way you're not just kind of stuck with one go-to. It could be, fidget spinners were a big thing and fidget items are still a big thing, but some schools don't allow them. So how can we put something else in place of that? Things that you would do at home, you may not do at the grocery store, but you might do them in the car, but you're not going to do them at school or at work. So what can we do across the different environments too? But think about, like I would say, what is your jam? What are you into? What brings you comfort? What brings you that calming thing? And think about your 5 senses too. Because I think that's really important, because some people smell can relax them. Some people, that's not going to help them at all. Sounds, tactile, think about all of those things and then run with it and try to see, again, if it expands, because there are some times where deep breathing will work for someone, but all of a sudden it's not working. They're like, it's not working. There's nothing. I have nothing else. Okay, well, this is why we need that backup. And I'm a very big advocate for keeping a list You can keep it in your wallet. You can keep it in your bedroom. You can keep it on your bathroom mirror, depending on your household makeup. Of the at least a minimum of 10 items, because when someone is in a very anxious or depressed mood, their minds aren't going to be rational in that moment. But if you go list, 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 I can go that list. Well, now we've caused one distraction because now I have to go move myself to the location where that list is. Then I've distracted myself again because now I have to go through the list to pick something. So we're already starting that de-escalation. Then we grab that item, or pick that item that we're going to utilize and, try to see if we can de-escalate that a little bit more.